how critical is macroeconomic stability and consistent government policy? In that regard, predictable regulatory regime, in the development of a successful financial center.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me again. Thank you a great deal for the kind words at the beginning of your remarks. It's always a pleasure to be with you and your colleagues in this very important conferences that you organize and convene. The first thing that I'd like to do before directly answering your question is to try to put the concept of international financial center in context of what are some of the larger things that are needed to create such an international financial center. And the first thing is you have to start with being a national financial center. And Seoul is already that. Seoul is obviously the financial capital of Korea, one of the biggest economies of the world, with incredible high-profile companies and major, economic development and major, obviously, society, sophisticated society, use of technology, and all the things that we know very well. So, but it starts with that, Then the second part is, in order to achieve an international financial center status, you need to build an international financial ecosystem, ecosystem in which a lot of things, a lot of variables, a lot of factors need to feed on each other to be able to achieve such a big position in the world. And being an ecosystem is not totally different than, for example, Silicon Valley being a technology ecosystem. The area around Cambridge and Boston, what is called Kendall Square, is a biotech ecosystem, that takes place. And in an ecosystem, you need to have different groups of people being connected together with a common cause. In this case, obviously, trading and investing, finance and investments, right? In the case of an international financial center. But a lot of the things that I'm going to be talking about in answer to many of your questions are going to relate to what are all the different areas of the ecosystem that need to be built and nurtured and developed in order to achieve such a status. So clearly, government policy is a major area. And by that is economic policy in the form of economic stability and economic understanding, meaning no surprises that the economy going from one extreme to another one, that will not be congruent with the development of an international financial center. So macroeconomic stability per se may not be a total requirement, but because there are countries that go through different turmoil, even the United States, even the UK, and other countries, they go up and down in their economic cycles. But what it has to be is not a cycle that takes down the economy, right? And not an erratic behavior by the economic agents of the country in the way they look at the trading and the investment of assets, in this case, financial assets. So when you look at the major economic, the major international financial centers of the world, some bigger ones and some smaller ones in the Americas, in the US, you have New York, for example, you have Chicago. Chicago is a big international financial center, mostly in the trading of derivatives and of all sorts. In Europe, you have London, you have Frankfurt and Zurich, again, different forms. And in APAC, you have Hong Kong, you have Singapore, you have Tokyo. And when you look at each one of those, the common characteristic is economic resilience, economic stability, economic, performance. But it's not the only thing. You have to have, going back to the different areas, you have to have a good place that respect property rights. That when you own a share of a company, you own a share of a company. Nobody's going to take it away from you. For example, when you have rights in the voting of a company, you have rights in the bankruptcy of an issuer, and therefore, what is your position with respect to how you get paid back, with the little assets that are left, and the like. Investor protections of all types. You have the rule of law, and all of that. You have immigration policies. If an international financial center, by definition, is going to have a lot of people from different nationalities. And different, walks of life. So what is the immigration policy? What is the visa? The allowing of visas, allowing a work status for people to come. Clearly, tax policy, what is expected, and all of that. So I think your question is a very important one in terms of economic system, but I wanted to put in the other areas of an economic system that helps the development of a system for investments and for finance on all the areas that I just mentioned. Now, I'm sure we'll get to this, but there are other more social areas or that are very important with respect to standards of living, with respect to an ability of a foreigner that is working in the international financial center to feel comfortable. The ability for people to speak a common language, such as English, and being able to communicate and move around. The ability of living in good neighborhoods, so that you feel that you're going to be at home. The ability to put your children in good schools that are international in nature, because you may not stay living in that country forever. So again, there are a lot of other things that need to be part of this ecosystem. And I didn't want to get into each one of those other ones, the social parts that I was talking about, but those are as important as the hard. Those are more soft ones, but they are as important as the hard ones in terms of economics and tax and investor rights and property, respect for property and tax laws and things like that. So I think that it's a big challenge, for a country like Korea, to be able to develop such a network, such a reputation and all of that. But it's doable. One thing that I always believe is that, and I tell a lot of my friends and colleagues this frequently: never bet against the Koreans. They are ingenious. They are determined. They work hard to achieve things and the like. So it is achievable, but you have a longer way to go than those places that already start with multicultural, multilingual, more international sort of society.
In fact, Henry, when you're here in Seoul next time, you should explore already very attractive K-pops, K-drama, K-food, and we have a very rich cultural and culinary attractions. So don't forget, we have it's a long way, but we have certain niche that we can sort of foster further to attract international interest. And actually, I gather that a lot of tourists are coming in into Seoul to experience K culture. That is K style, fashion, music, and food, and so forth. So we'll see K finance.
Yeah. And for sure, pop music is already famous all over the world, right?
Have your sort of long-term vision for how financial industries and capital markets will be reshaped in the coming decades, and how best should we prepare for those changes and challenges?
So for sure, in order to build competitive advantage for Seoul in building an international financial center, you do not want to replicate the international financial centers of the past, or even the present, because that will be a Me Too strategy, and it will make it harder to differentiate yourself and build a competitive advantage. So you need to think about where things are going. What are the new things that international financial centers need to deal with and be good at in order to position yourself, with advantage. And not all international financial centers are going to do that. Not all of them are going to do that. And the reason is because they have so much vested interest in preserving the status quo. But a new entrant, with aggressive goals and ambitions, can redefine what the future of an international financial hub, will look like. So what are some of the things that are, in the horizon? Climate change, as you know well, is going to redefine the world. Every single aspect of our world in our generation will be redefined by climate change, including the capital markets, including trading and investing in financial assets and in real assets. So therefore, becoming an international financial center as it relates to climate change, climate finance, climate investments is going to become a major source of advantage. A lot of the centers in the West, are so focused right now on the immediacy of their situation that they're not working as hard in developing in themselves as a hub for that. Obviously, there's an exception in Asia Pacific, which is Singapore. Singapore is trying hard to do that. So that's an example, of something new. So in the context of that, it's not just about, when people talk about climate change and finance and all of that, the logical thing that people think about is investments in new technologies and new green fields and new this, new that. The vast majority of the transformation of the world is going to have in taking our existing industries, our existing business models, and turning them from brown to green. So, and that's going to require a massive amount of capital to transform every industry into a green industry, and there will be a lot of winners and a lot of losers, and that's what capital markets are all about. So, so that's one important area. Obviously, the second area is an international financial center that is very focused on the newer technologies in the world, and the ability to trade capital and to invest capital in the newer technologies. And for sure, obviously, that is, or I will not say the newer technologies, I will say all the technologies that are going to help us develop the world. So JI is an important part of that. So, there will be a lot of capital traded. We know that. There are 3 companies. Think about this. There are 3 companies in America, Microsoft, Apple, and NVIDIA, whose market cap is larger than the entire equity market of China.
Yes.
Right? That the entire equity market of China being the second largest equity market in the world. So, so that tells you that there is an advantage in being able to trade, and invest in companies that can create those kinds of values with AI. and newer technology. But the technology, could be obviously climate change technology as well. Could be, biotech. It could be, there is a huge amount of aging of the population. I don't have to speak to the Koreans about birth, low birth and low growth rates or negative growth rates in their societies. There is a massive amount of area. On the client type, there is a revolution going on in wealth management in the world. For a number of reasons. The wealth being accumulated is large. Secondly, we're going from an intergenerational transfer of wealth simultaneously to a world in which we need to have pockets of money or pools of money that take care of the retired people. Right. So, being able to be a big center for wealth management in the world is going to be a competitive advantage. As an example, something that is obviously very close and dear to my heart, which is systematic rules-based index investing. This trend is gonna continue unabated for years and decades to come, and therefore being a center where index products trade, index futures, index options, index passive ETFs and mutual funds and all of that. Another area is, which is a lot of people, when they think of international financial markets and international financial centers, they think about liquid assets, the trading of bonds, listed or liquid bonds, and the trading of equities, listed equities. But the world before the 20th century was mostly investment in private assets. We just fell in love with something called the listed markets and the liquid markets during the 20th century. And now we're beginning to realize that not everything can be liquid and not everything can be listed. And that the vast majority of investment in the world will be in liquid or private assets. So being a center where, where there is investments in alternative assets, as they call, being able to trade them somehow, even though not very liquid, but being able to invest is going to create competitive advantage. So anyhow, those are some ideas, but the overall concept is it's very hard to build something like you're trying to build and just be the same as every other center in the world. That's not going to give you competitive advantage. What you need to do is figure out some of these ideas that I propose. Where are the places in which, by the way, something that I forgot, which I mentioned to you last time we met, is Korea is a leader in nuclear technology in the world. So how does Korea become an international financial hub for that? That will be that's a great combination, because it's not just about foreign direct investment by Korean entities and licensing of technology. It's about how do we attract and to trade and invest on the assets that are part of the global nuclear energy industry.
So, great. You touched upon the areas where we may rededicate ourselves as a sort of new, not replicate what others have done, to strengthen our, position, solidify our position in several ways, reflecting on huge changes taking place globally. You mentioned climate change, and essentially we're talking about so-called transition finance, climate finance field, and also you talk about technology-related, new technology-related finance. Even you mentioned democratic. I mean, this aging society, and money moves from main source of investable money comes from retirees, other pension money, and so forth. So you gave us the whole sort of picture where we need to dig into it to get more specific strategy to move along with those changing dynamics in this part of the world. It has been enormously helpful, Henry. Your unparalleled insight once again highlighted our event and our discussion. You're laying the ground for further discussion we'll have in this session and throughout the day. Okay, once again, thank you very much.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to be here and share those thoughts, and best of luck for the conference. And I hope that a lot of great constructive and productive things come out of it, so we can see Seoul developing into a major international financial center.